Hello and welcome to English for Communication 1. My name is Gary Linton. Today we're looking at Unit 1, Part 2, Grammar, about how to introduce yourself. So the grammar's all about how we join the words together to make sentences. And the thing we're going to look at today, first of all, will be using the verb to be. So this is one of the most common verbs in English we use all the time. And I'm sure you've come across these before. It's the is, am, are. In English we use different versions of verbs to match with different subjects. Here on screen you can see we have is, and below it was. Was is the past tense we use to speak about things that happened before now. We use is and was with he, she and it as our subjects. So when we talk about, it's the third person singular. We talk about other people, but only one of them. My brother is a doctor. Susan is happy. The table is broken. Our cat is lovely. We can also use the is with terms like everyone, someone, anybody, nobody. So every, some, body, one, all of those combinations we use with is, or if it's in the past, was. When we use I, this is the first person singular. The first person, me. I am handsome. And if I'm using I also use was for the past tense. But with I use am. I am a teacher. I am from Scotland. So when we're talking about ourselves and introducing ourselves, we really do use the verb to be a lot. So also if we want to talk about our friends or family, my brother is a doctor. So we're only using it to refer to ourselves, but am or was. And finally we have are and where. Where is the past tense we use with are. We use these with the subjects you, we, and they. So you, we, and they is second person singular and first, second, and third person plural. Examples of that might include Tom and I. Anything that includes and I is a we. It's the same as saying we. People. People is a plural noun, one person, two people. Men, one man, singular, two men, plural. And obviously women, which goes with one woman, two women. My parents. You notice the S on the end, that shows we're using a plural noun. You can have my mother is a single parent, just one, or my mum and dad are my parents. Susan's dogs. So Susan has more than one dog. She has dogs. They. So these are the versions of the verb to be. There's also the use, the words be, been, and being, which are all versions of the verb to be. But really we'll save that for another time. Focus on is, am, are, and you can also practice the was, were with the right subject. Getting that right will help make your English sound more natural. So when we use this, we use is. Here's an example. You notice the examples here. I have A, N, Q up in the corner. A just stands for affirmative, a sentence saying something is true. N, the negative, it's not true. And Q, the question, asking about something. So you can see here, my name is Gary. The verb to be is. My name is not Bob. The negative. Is your name spelt with one R or two? So my name, Gary, you can spell G-A-R-Y or G-A-R-R-Y. So it's a question someone might ask. We can make a contraction of name is. A contraction is when we shorten things, make them contracted or short. And to do that, we take away letters and put in an apostrophe. You can see that there in the comma, where name is, we take away the I and put in an apostrophe, names. And it really means name is. We can also make a contraction of is not. And that would be isn't. My name is not Bob. My name isn't Bob. Am. Some examples. The affirmative, I am 21 years old. The negative, I am not a doctor. The question, am I doing a test later? Not sure. Here again, we can make a contraction of I am. I'm. So we keep the I sound, we lose the A, the A, and we keep the I'm. But unlike is not, we don't make a contraction of am not. Okay, so we can't say amn't. That's not correct. It's a little different from the is and are in that respect. And the last one, are. The affirmative, we are going to be late. The cakes are not very nice. Are you going to the party? So you notice we use those with the right subjects. We are. The cakes are plural, not just one cake. Are you? And again, like before, we can make contractions of we are. We're going to be late. We can also make the contraction of are not, aren't. The cakes aren't very nice. We use contractions all the time in natural speech. We don't use them so often in very formal language, but you will hear people use them all the time when you speak to them in English. So it's good to be able to listen and hear them and know what they mean. So let's take a look at some other common verbs that we might use when we're introducing ourselves. You see here I've broken them down to show a little bit of the variety we have with verbs. Quite often when we talk about verbs, we talk about them being singular or plural. What we really mean, if you see that, is third person singular, the he, she, it. And plural is the first and second person singular and all of the plurals, I, you, we, they. And this makes a difference in English. With the third person singular, we add an S. So I like, he likes. You notice we also have past tense and past participle in English. So for like, if you're talking about the past, we add a D, liked. It makes a T sound, liked. Same for the past participle. And there's a present participle. We use this for the continuous form. And we put ing, liking. We'll talk a little more about that. It's an unusual one. Go. Goes, went, gone, going. So depending on the tense you use, and throughout this course we'll cover some of these in a little more detail. But I just want you to get the idea that the verbs do change in English, and it doesn't happen so much in Thai, so it can be quite difficult to get your head round at the beginning. Where do you live? I live in Scotland. He lives in Scotland. I lived in Scotland. I have lived in Hat Yai and Songkhla. I am living in Songkhla at the moment. So the versions of the verb. And the last one I want to mention here, have. Have is another irregular verb. It's one that is slightly different each version. I have, he has. So I, you, we, they have. He, she, it has. Have is another verb we can use as a contraction, which is why I've shown in brackets here the apostrophe VE. You can say I've, you've, we've, they've. He, she, it has. He's, she's, it's. So that looks like he is, he has. You use the same apostrophe S. So that can be confusing and something you need to watch out for. The past tense and past participle of have are had. I had a car, but I don't anymore. This can be used as a contraction as well, which can be confusing, as it can also mix with I would, which can be contracted to apostrophe D. So lots of funny things to watch out for. And the present participle, having. You can see example sentences here. I like ice cream. She likes ice cream. They liked ice cream when they were kids in the past. I have liked ice cream since I first tried it in 1975. Now, the last one, using the present participle, I wanted to show this because it's not really grammatically correct, but we do use it. We don't use some verbs with ing. And like is normally one of those, but you will hear people doing it. Is this ice cream to your liking? I'm not usually a fan of chocolate ice cream, but I'm liking this. It really means the same as I'm enjoying, but it's not really grammatically correct, but people use them. And you'll learn more about that as you go on. Just wanted to make you aware that it happens and you might come across it. Don't be too surprised. Okay, the last thing from a grammar point I want to mention is our possessive adjectives. Adjectives are words that tell us more about nouns and pronouns, the names of things. So a possessive adjective shows that something belongs to someone or something. For example, if I take a look at my glasses, my spectacles. I have spectacles. These are my spectacles. So they belong to me. And we use different versions of the adjective depending on the subject. If I'm talking about I use my. My name is Gary. You, your. Is that your car? So does that car belong to you? We, our. So my friend and I, this is our house. We rent our house. They, we used their. Their house is huge. The house that belongs to them. He, we use his. John is taking his dog for a walk. She, her. That's not her bag. It, its. This is education at its best. Now, you notice a lot of people see it with an apostrophe. It is, its. Here there's no apostrophe. So the difference between the possessive adjective and it is the contraction. Watch out for that. It's a really common mistake in writing as well. Now the other part, you see I've got an apostrophe S. We don't always use the possessive adjective. We sometimes want to show something belongs to Gary. So I can say it's Gary's and put an apostrophe S on Gary. So we can show that, is that Gary's car? The apostrophe S, the car does the car belong to Gary? You are Tom's friend. So you're a friend that belongs to Tom. Where are the cat's toys? The toys that I'm talking about belong to the cats. There are the school's property. I just want to highlight this one a little bit because, as you can see, the apostrophe comes after the S, not before. So what we're showing here is that this is actually a plural noun. So I'm using the word schools, more than one school. And just because we don't want to add too many S's, we don't want to say schools. So we just show it that it is possessive by putting the apostrophe after the S, okay? But it tells me that there's more than one school. As I mentioned, be a little careful sometimes when you look at some of these things with apostrophes and an S. The apostrophe S doesn't just show that it's the possessive. It could be showing a contraction. And the apostrophe S can be a contraction for is or has. You see example sentences showing that. Gary is eating soup. So this really means Gary is eating soup. It's the verb to be. Gary's soup is getting cold. Now that one, that's the possessive, because here the soup belongs to me, to Gary. Gary has let his soup get cold. Gary's let his soup get cold. I didn't go and eat my soup when it was warm, so I let it get cold. And here is the verb to have. I have let. Gary has let. So that can make things more complicated as you start to learn. But be aware of it. Know that it can happen when you see these things and you think, Gary, is soup getting cold? That doesn't make sense. Maybe it's the possessive. Gary is let. That doesn't sound right. Maybe it's Gary has. So be aware of those varieties that you can see when we're speaking English. And hopefully you'll be able to answer the questions correctly and pick the right version if you've understood. Thank you all very much for listening to our clip today. Hopefully you understand a little more how to use the verb to be and some other verbs. Goodbye.